Kenneth Anand. We are finally kicking off, man. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, for sure.
For everyone out there, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Kenneth Anand. I am a fashion, streetwear, and sneaker consultant. I spent my last 2.5 years at the Yeezy brand working for Kanye West and his fashion label, first in a legal capacity as general counsel of Yeezy apparel, and then as head of business development. And before that, I'd practiced law for 15 years with fashion clients, entertainment, business, which really prepped me for my work at Yeezy. And I'm happy to be here.
We really want to give some tidbits to designers that are looking to go direct to consumer within the future.
Sure.
So I guess let's start off with my first question, actually. So how was it working for today's Steve Jobs?
Yeah, so first of all, probably the most inspiring and motivated time of my professional career was at Yeezy. I think it's pretty easy to understand why. I think he inspires so many people in day-to-day life through his music, through his design, through his general ethos. But for me to see it from an insider's perspective and the business behind it was phenomenal. I knew that when I set foot in the business of Yeezy, I had to quickly scale up my knowledge on the business aspects of things and use my legal skills to contribute to the brand in the ways that I knew how. And that morphed over time. So, super inspiring. I mean, there's no one that's doing more, I feel like, in art, culture, design than Kanye West. So, it was dope.
And it's amazing because I don't think any lawyer really saw or sees that trajectory to the position that you found yourself in.
Yeah.
Give us, understanding of how you got there.
Sure.
Is it something that from a young age you always aspired to be in?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, my career has really come full circle in many ways. When I was young, like in middle school and high school, I was really into hip hop music. I was really into hip hop culture, hip hop fashion. Middle school and high school years, all I wanted to do was be a music producer. I was chopping up samples and like freestyling with my friends, and I loved it. I fell in love with the culture, and so I went to college thinking, number one, I would get a college degree, but number two, I would continue producing and trying to make it in the music business. So in college, I had a band that I produced for, and we used to play at frat parties. And
what was the name of the band?
It was called 200 Proof.
200 Proof. There we go.
Yeah. Which is a slight nod to alcohol abuse. So that's what college kids did at the time. So it resonated. And so like just learned the inside of a music studio. I took classes on audio engineering. I actually got a dual degree in music and computers along with a just general communications major.
Wow.
And so when I graduated, my parents both having their PhDs, they were like, what's next?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I just graduated. Like, give me a chance to figure it out. And so I moved back in with them, and I started taking meetings in the city to, with record labels. And I realized how difficult it was to break into that business, even with the experience that I had. And then even if you broke into the business, how grimy it was as an artist, and how it really was set up to take advantage of artists and creative people. And
so automatically after college you wanted to focus in the arts.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. And I grew up in a creative household. My brother's a painter. He went to RISD, and I just have like a bleeding heart for creatives. And so after struggling to make it in the music business and having some minor success, I realized that my path and my strength was in supporting creatives like my brother, like other people like myself who were struggling in the business. And so I enrolled in law school, and I went to Brooklyn Law School to pursue a career in law. So, I remember just showing up the first day of school and like looking around, and just my personal aesthetic was much different from the people that I was in class with.
Yeah.
I was just this middle class kid that loved hip hop, and I was thrown in a very corporate and very homogenous world.
Yeah.
So I showed up the first day of school wearing a tracksuit, a powder blue, velour tracksuit, and I looked around. I was like, well, this isn't going to fly for law school.
Yeah.
So I had to change up a little bit and
assimilate.
Yeah, and I think that really prepared me for the corporate world and going into a law firm, and and I feel just as comfortable wearing a suit today as I do, wearing sweats and sneakers. I prefer to wear sneakers and sweats, but I understand that there's roles for both, and if I'm going to be a boss in any industry, it's like you got to know how to move and shake. Yeah. So that trajectory from law school into passing the bar and then going to get a traditional job at a law firm, which I did. I practiced employment litigation first. I was a young associate at some very well-known employment law firms in the city, and I did harassment, discrimination, employment contracts, executive contracts, all of the things that really you need to know from an HR legal perspective, which I didn't even know, but later on would become so valuable when I got to a company like Yeezy. So I did that. Then in '09, I started my own law firm, and I branched out and started focusing on employment clients, entertainment clients, intellectual property clients. My wife was an intellectual property attorney. She's a fashion lawyer. She actually helped teach me the things that I needed to know to bring in those clients and actually service them the right way. And so, the growth just kept going and going to more of a generalist perspective for me. And what I mean by that is a lawyer who knows how to handle any legal matter for their business clients. And if you can't handle it personally, you can refer it to other people in the firm that you're in. But you are the point contact for all of your clients' needs. And so that sort of really started helping me get the growth to be like, oh, well, maybe I can go work for a company. And I started toying around with the idea, like I had practiced law for maybe 13, 14 years when I was like, what's next for me? I'm 38, I'm about to turn 39, I'm about to go into my 40s. Mm-hmm. And, I have this wealth of knowledge, and then I have my passions, I have the things that excite me the most, and I have my clients that do the things that really I'm passionate about, like sneakers, fashion, music, and how do I mold a career for myself that's like, I'm doing what I'm good at, but I'm also working in a space that ignites my passion and my excitement. And so, I just started focusing on those clients that were in those spaces for me. And sure enough, one day I got a call from a client of mine who was like, Kanye wants to hire me as one of his executives, and would you help me negotiate that deal? And I was like, absolutely, I would love to. And so, went back and forth negotiating that deal for him. And then, he went to work there, and I was like, great, I'm excited for him, but how do I get in there? How do I at least get into that Kanye stratosphere? Because I love, as a fan, I just wanted to be a part of it. And he reached out to me, a few months later and said, we have a lot of legal work that we need done, and can you help out with that? And I said, absolutely. And I started looking at how I could help and what their needs were. And I threw a Hail Mary out there, and I was like, I could do this work for you here at my law firm, and I could save you money on what, maybe you're being charged currently, or you could just hire me and I'll come do everything legally for the company. And, it was one of those things where it was like, there's no harm in asking. Right? Like the worst thing they'll say is, nah, we don't have that role for you. Mm-hmm. And I knew they didn't have it because I just knew that the way the company was set up. And I think I just timing wise hit it at the right time because Yeezy was growing so fast.
What year was this?
This was 2017, early 2017. And they were just in between seasons 4 and season 5. And I was like, let's see what happens. And they were growing so fast, and they had so many legal needs and operational needs that, it made sense. And so, 2 weeks later, I had the job. I flew out to LA and I got to work, So, so that's basically a quick overview of how I landed,
No,
at
it's
that
perfect
job.
because it's interesting, and I would love to know how does it differ from owning your own firm to practicing inside of a
Yeah.
corporation like Yeezy.
Yeah, so it's very different. Obviously, number one, instead of having a multitude of clients that you got to take care of, I had one, right? So in some sense, the job got easier because I didn't have to focus on, this company needs this thing done, or I have to be in court for this company today, or, I have to negotiate a deal with it, like just all over the place. And that's really the skill of a partner who can manage multiple clients and make sure every one of them feels like they're being taken care of. This was, I have to focus on one client. But when your client's Kanye West, like,
Yeah.
There's a lot to be done. And like, this is a guy that knew that he was going to explode and was prepping his company for that explosion. So, there were some things that were easier as a partner in a law firm and some things that were easier at Yeezy. Like I didn't have to bill my time anymore. That's something that partners do, and it's really annoying. I was never really great at it. And then like just handling the day-to-day of a growing fashion company and all the different personalities and lines of business. But as I say, like 15 years practicing law in New York City, like that'll prepare you for some serious work. So
I'm preparing for Kanye.
yeah. I don't know if anything can prepare you for Kanye, but
Yeah.
but I felt like I was ready.